it to see if he's interested in approaching or not. And she'll put her hand just inside the cage, and this cat's all over that. A lot of cats will be more fearful and will still be sort of hiding at the back, trying to figure out what's about to happen. Then she gets a toy to see if the cat is playful. Sometimes cats who are sort of hunched at the back, pouting, will come out and realize, okay, this is not going to be some sort of an anal probe physical exam going on here. Okay, this is cool. I can handle this. And they'll come out when it's time to play. This cat seems more interested in the person than the toy. And then the next step is to put her hand within 8 inches of the cat. And this cat's already right at the front. But if we're talking about a really under-socialized cat, perhaps who's growling or hissing, you have to be very brave to do that. Now she's petting in areas most cats find very easy to tolerate, the neck and a little bit on the back. Now she's going to pick up the cat, and we just pick up the cat for just a couple of seconds. There are plenty of cats who are great companions who don't want to be carried around. But we need to know if we can move them safely from cage to cage or to a carrier, for example. And now she's going to start petting in places cats generally don't like too much. She's going to go down all 4 of the legs. And then she's going to go into the belly. And then she's going to pet down the back to the base of the tail and just gently for a second pull up on the base of the tail. That's the unpleasant part of the handling. This cat is the easiest cat in the world. Yeah. Now she's going to put him on the floor. Lots of cats will behave differently on the floor because it's a more open space. The cage can be confining. There's no way to get away from the person if they're fearful. Sometimes they're more relaxed on the floor, or vice versa. They could be more fearful and climbing the walls once they get on the floor. So she's going to kneel down and call to the cat. We're again now seeing, just like in the dog portion, if the cat is more interested in the person or the environment. This cat seems like a little both. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video and go on to the next one because this is just video for putting the cat back in the cage. So this part now is feeding in the presence of a person. And this is actually a test that we do for fearfulness. A lot of cats who are fearful will not eat when you're standing near them. And so what she does is put something irresistible to cats, which is chicken baby food, into a little bowl with a couple cat treats as well. And she stands right in front of the cage to see if the cat will eat there. If the cat doesn't, she'll step across the aisle to give him a little bit more space. And if the cat still doesn't eat, she'll step out of the room to see if the cat eats once she's gone. This is I'm giving her an idea for really how shut down the cat is. Very under-socialized, fearful, feral cats usually only come out at night to eat and to use the litter box, so they probably wouldn't eat at all during this part of the evaluation. And the last portion is the cat-cat test. And we can't put cats on leashes for the most part, so we do it through the glass and the cage door. And the ASPCA has glass doors, as opposed to most shelters that have bars on their cages. They have little snip holes. So she's going to take some scent from the cat and hold it up to the hole there. Some cats are triggered more by the scent of another cat than the actual visual stimulus of the cat. This one seems pretty easygoing about that, too. So behavior evaluations do have some caveats with them, and that's that behavior of any individual, whether it's a dog, a cat, a bird, a person, varies over time and context. I'm very different here talking in front of you than I am sitting on my couch at home. No test, therefore, is 100% accurate or predictive, and we know that. We have to live with that. This is sort of getting to know an animal as best we can, given the circumstances. And we always have to combine the information from an evaluation with all the other sources of information that we have, so you can get a more rounded picture of what the animals might be like for their true personality. I'm getting some shadows up there. Sorry, that says enrichment. So this is another type of program that shelters have for their behavior program. And by enrichment, I mean the addition of stimuli or provision of choice that results in the improvement of animal well-being. And so often positive benefit for their animal well-being. So it requires monitoring to see what the effects truly are, and enrichment is so much more than toys. So I'm going to start out with the types of enrichment that I would consider the most critical for any shelter animal. First, seems like a no-brainer, room to sit, lie, and stretch. There are plenty of shelters who use very small cages, and the cats are actually laying practically in their litter boxes when they try to stretch out. I feel that that's a welfare issue. There are ways to get around the space issue. We can do time sharing of a shared common area for cats to be in. There's office fostering, things like that. Scratching. This cat did ecstasy, so using his little stretch and scratch, it's the cardboard scratcher that mounts on the wall. It's normal behavior for cats, and they need to do it to exercise their toes and to remove the sheath off of their claws. The retreat area, and this is really critical, especially for fearful animals. And there's often the argument from shelters that if a fearful animal has a retreat area, it's probably just going to hide and the doctors will never see it. But there's actually research indicating that having a retreat area can help the animal to adjust to the environment better, and they'll actually be more likely to come forward to see doctors. Soft bedding. Wouldn't we all love to crawl in there right now? There is actually research indicating that cats have longer bouts of deep sleep on soft bedding, that they have a preference for fleecy type materials. So shelters sometimes use the very basics, such as newspaper, for cost reasons and for sanitary reasons, but that again can be a welfare issue, particularly for older animals that may be arthritic or in other ways painful. A perch and a view. This is true. It was important for dogs and cats. And with this cat hamming it up, of course cats like to be up high. But dogs too. Dogs show a preference to be up higher on a platform to survey their surroundings, particularly if there are other dogs around, which is generally the case in shelters. And if you're tiny like this guy, get as high as you can off the floor is good. Other types of enrichment that are now moving into things that would be great to give the animal beyond just the basics. Social interaction with their own kind. And I put an asterisk here because obviously there are some cats and dogs who prefer not to be in the company of each other. That's fine. If they are in co-house in some way, I think that it's critical to give them choices. So the ability to get away from each other, plenty of beds and cubby holes and resources that they don't have to compete for them. Then grooming. It's hard to see, but this is a cat with a scrub brush tied to the wall of the cage and is rubbing on it to groom itself. It's really hard for shelter animals to keep themselves clean because they're so close to their toilet areas, and stress causes excessive shedding, so they're often shedding a lot of hair and dander at the same time. So anything we can do to help them is great. We all feel better. You know, after you've been sick and you take a shower, it's like, oh, I feel so much better. So that's the same situation for them, I imagine. And foraging and hunting. When we feed an animal in a bowl, the best part of their day is done in 2 seconds. So the longer we can prolong that, the more we can give them an opportunity to express a more full range of their behavioral repertoire. They can express pre-feeding behaviors. Cats are hunters. They like to hunt and pounce and catch things. Dogs are foragers. They're scavengers. So they use their nose. That's why nose work has become such a popular sport for dogs, and scent detection dogs. So they seem to derive some sort of there is some sort of need for them to express that behavior. Socialization with people. And for animals that are well socialized with people, this can be very stress-reducing, in fact, for both dogs and cats, but also for the person. The person's blood pressure is reduced, and so it's just a win-win who can do it. And then object play and toys, which is what most people consider enrichment, and I just had to throw bird pictures because I don't have any of the bird pictures. And then when it comes to enrichment, I argue that it's important to give the animal just the right amount of optional stimulation. And so I say, shelters, just say no to radio. And the reason is, it's unavoidable. It's an auditory stimulus that the animal cannot avoid. And particularly when the speakers are right next to a cage, think how much louder it is for that particular animal, and actually there's been cases I've noticed of the cage actually vibrating because of the speaker's proximity. So there's the unavoidable auditory stimulus and tactile, so that could be highly stressful. So shelter workers love it, of course, but for the most part, shelters are very noisy places, something around the range of 81, 91 decibels. So for most animals, it's going to be a reduction in auditory stimulation that is better for their welfare. Scent. Now, the rest of these types of enrichment are great for animals that have been there for a longer period of time, perhaps have already acclimated to the shelter environment and are starting to get bored, or for really outgoing animals that have a lot of energy to burn. Scent is one way to do this, and I put an asterisk because to make it optional, it's great to hide it in either a lot of paper or inside of some sort of cardboard tube. We marinate toys with catnip and put them inside of paper or cardboard, and we use scents from spices, cloves, cinnamon, chamomile. We also use lavender and, of course, catnip for cats. I will say there seems to be an intrinsic motivation for most animals to explore, to learn about their environment. And so, again, with an asterisk, it won't be suitable for all animals, but office fostering or walks, even for cats, is a great way to do that. Cats can wear a harness. And then training and mental stimulation. Here's our guest star, Jessie, here. Clicker training a cat to touch her nose to a outstretched hand. And this is our feline behavior counselor, Adi, teaching a very outgoing and busy cat to do some tricks to keep his mind and his body occupied on positive. So training and socialization is the last program that I'll talk about, and that is teaching. There's various aspects of this. We teaching alternatives to undesirable behavior. This dog is very sensitive about having its feet touched. It's fear aggressive, so she's been taught to target her paw to an outstretched hand, and then could be gradually built up to actually holding the paw and then clipping the nails. And the dog is offering it. She's being rewarded, developing a positive association for displaying that behavior. We can also teach alternatives to other undesirable behaviors like dog-dog aggression on leash, high arousal or mouthy behavior, and then like this little dog can handle aggression. And it's all done, it's so important that it's this positive, reward-based training. So many animals in shelters have negative associations with people for various reasons, that we really need to develop and foster positive associations with every opportunity we have. We can do basic training for home life as well. Plenty of dogs and cats, especially dogs who come from hoarding situations, backyard breeders, other neglect or cruelty cases, have no experience walking on a leash. They have no idea where to toilet, and they've never seen stairs before. And they can really freak out when you've been on stairs, putting on stairs for the first time. And if you're adjusting out to a 6-story walk-up, you better know how to use the stairs. So this is a little dog at our rehab center on these little training steps here, getting rewards for getting closer and closer and eventually going up the steps. And then puppy socialization and handling. Puppies that are in the shelter during their sensitive period of development for socialization really need to be handled in a positive way by all different types of people. And by that I mean men, women, tall people, short people, wide people, kids, people with hats, people with beards, glasses. And they need to be handled all over their bodies, their ears, check their teeth, pet their bellies, hold their feet. Because then, as adults, they just take this in stride. It's just normal. It's just what happens to them. And there's no having to go back and do remedial training like this little guy. And then there's behavior modification, which is essentially the type of training with positive association that I was just talking about. But often this is the term reserved for more serious, in-depth behavior problems. And it's almost entirely changing animals' negative associations with something, whether it's people or handling or novelty that they think they haven't experienced, or the leash. And this video I'm going to show you sort of wraps up the whole, all of the different behavior programs that I have spoken about today. This is the dog Coconut. She's a Jack Russell Terrier from Puppy Mill. This is